Meanwhile, the European Union may be looking to change how it does business with the United States. The German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas is continuing his call to create independent payment channels separate from the U.S. And for more, we're joined by a former UK Member of Parliament, George Galloway. Thanks so much for joining us.
Welcome.
Mr. Galloway, do you see this plan strengthening Europe's independence, or is this more about making the Iran nuclear deal happen without the U.S. per se?
Well, it's both, and the previous item about President Macron, as well as this item about Foreign Minister Maas's comments, indicates the growing split between Europe and the United States and the possibility of rapprochement between Europe and its neighbours, including, of course, Russia. And Donald Trump, when he came over here, swaggering around like one of the Sopranos, demanding that people pony up double the expenditure on NATO, this was a turning point, in my opinion. We've got the Paris Accords division, we've got the trade war division, we've got the sanctions on Iran division, and we've got the US insistence on never-ending conflict with Russia. These are all very significant casus belli for this growing chasm, I would call it, between Europe and the United States. Personally, I'm very happy to see the European territory regain its sovereignty, stop being a satellite of the United States. If the US wants to be exceptional, wants to be alone, that's fine. The rest of us can do well without it.
So those familiar with SWIFT say creating a second European SWIFT without the US would likely fail, it would fall through, and as most are talking about how the original SWIFT is successful because of the dollar's dominance. So do you see where these analysts are coming from?
Well, we have to end this dollar domination of international trade. The European Union is big enough, it's economically developed enough, and it has the instruments, or could have them, to set up a parallel structures. We could have a European Monetary Fund instead of relying on the International Monetary Fund, which is an instrument of US policy. We could price things in euros rather than in dollars. Many of the oil producers would be very happy to do that. What we can't have is US control of the international banking system, forcing sovereign countries, or in the case of the European Union, a union of important, historic sovereign countries, to bow the knee to decisions made in Washington. That's untenable politically, and it looks like the European leaders are no longer prepared to accept it.
Well, it's interesting because now we're starting to see some of the effects from U.S. sanctions. I mean, we even saw France's Total pull out of a $4.8 billion Iranian gas project that it had just agreed to, only a year ago. So don't you see more cases like this happening if Germany moves forward with the second SWIFT?
No, the opposite. The reason Total did that was the same reason that Banque Nationale Paribas paid a multi-billion-dollar fine to the United States because of its involvement in trade with Cuba, which is perfectly legal in France, and the BNP acted perfectly legally within their own country's laws. But they still paid the US a multi-billion-dollar fine because if they did not, the US would have used its control over the SWIFT system, which is based in Belgium but controlled by the United States, to penalize them much more in the longer term. This is untenable, and the United States has brought this division upon itself. The European countries are not Gulf satrapies to be kicked around, to be moved around. They are sovereign countries of importance, of historic importance, and they're not prepared to be treated in the way that President Trump is treating them.
All right, Mr. Galloway, we will have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your insight.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.